Advance directives are much like they sound. They're directions in advance of one's incapacity. So you can have an advance medical directive. For example, we've been talking about healthcare powers of attorney, an appointment of a healthcare representative. A living will is an advance directive. It is where you are stating your wishes in advance of your becoming ill and being unable to make your own decisions. It is difficult to initiate an end-of-life discussion with a loved one who's not receptive to that topic of conversation. Sometimes people are just not ready for that. If this is the only family member you have, you may have to force the issue a little bit. In our case, I'm one of 6 children, so there were other people who could manage the healthcare decision-making and just communicate with the other family members who are maybe not quite ready to discuss these issues. It is a tough subject, it really is. I think when death is a difficult topic for your family, that you do whatever it takes to initiate those conversations. It might be as simple as going to a movie, which deals with the topic of dying, visiting a museum, which would trigger some discussion about the death and dying process. If you're up against a complete wall, then I think it's also good to maybe talk to a therapist or a social worker who deals in these issues to try to get some tips on how to approach your family member with these difficult conversations. So those are just a few of the things you might consider if you are having difficulty broaching the subject with your family member. There are many important questions that come up in the dying process. At end of life, you have some decisions to make. Are you able to stay in your home? Many people would love to be able to stay in their home. Is it feasible? Is it feasible financially? Can you get the care you need in the home? If that is not feasible, then would you prefer to be in a hospice facility as opposed to a nursing home or a hospital at end of life? We have some very good hospice facilities in the area, and a lot of people would feel comfortable in those environments because they're geared to dealing with the very situation that confronts the individual. So those are a few of the discussions and questions you will need to address as you approach your end of life. If you don't give thought to what you want to happen at end of life, sometimes those decisions are taken away from you. People default to what they know. If somebody is very sick and having a hard time breathing at home, they may call 911. You go to the hospital admits you, and you may be there to stay. That may not have been the intervention you wanted. You may have preferred that somebody call a hospice provider and have the nurse come out and attend to you and make sure that you're comfortable in your own home. So if you don't have an active plan, then the decisions may be taken away from you based on your circumstances. Preventing family fractures, I think, can be possibly done through good communication. I'm a strong advocate of communication within the family. Most of the fractures I see or I hear about in my office come as a result of poor communication. Decisions are being made and you're not engaging the whole family. I'm very lucky myself. I'm one of 6 kids. And as my mom was on her final journey, we were all conference calling. We're spread throughout the country, but we communicated all the time, and it made such a difference. And I often tell my own clients about my experiences because it made a huge difference in not only our family, but in the type of dying process my mom had. I know she felt comforted by the fact that we were all on board, we were there, we were talking to one another. So communication, I think, is the key.